Hi everyone, in this video, I'll show you how to install GLPI server using Docker fast, simple, and super efficient. We'll be using Docker to get everything up and running quickly without complicated configurations. Before we begin, make sure that Docker and Portainer are already installed and ready to use on your system. If you're not sure how to install them, no worries, I've included a step-by-step tutorial video in the description below. First, let's create a separate folder to store all configuration and data related to GLPI. You can name the folder GLPI server or anything you prefer. Just make it easy to remember. Next, we're going to create a file named docker-compose.yml. This file defines how the containers like MySQL and GLPI will work together. Once the file opens, press the key on your keyboard to switch to insert mode. And copy the sample configuration below and paste it into the file you just created. Here's the database configuration for GLPI, including the database name, username, and password. You can change these values if you want, just make sure they match across both services. Also, I've added comments next to each configuration line in the file, so you can read through them to better understand what each part does. Now go ahead and paste the configuration into the docker-compose.yml file you just created. Once you've finished pasting, press ESC to exit insert mode. Then type JARX and hit Enter to save and close the file. Now, we're going to install the GLPI server by starting Docker Compose to run the containers based on the configuration we've just created. Alright, as you can see here, the containers are up and running successfully. That means we finished installing the GLPI server using Docker. Now, you can also run the docker ps command to double-check whether the containers are running. If everything shows up as expected, then we're good to go. Additionally, you can also quickly check it in Portainer. It's more visual and makes it easier to monitor your running containers. Just a quick reminder, if you're running multiple containers, make sure that each one uses a different host port. Otherwise, port conflicts can prevent your containers from starting properly. Now we'll access the GLPI setup interface through the browser. Just open your browser and go to http://ipserver8081. On the GLPI setup screen, select the language you want, then click OK to continue. Click Continue to proceed with the installation. Next, click the Install button to start installing GLPI. Next, click Continue again to move on to the next step. Here, you'll need to enter your database connection details, including the database host, user, and password, all of which were already defined in your docker-compose.yml file. Next, select the database name that was defined earlier in your docker-compose.yml file. Next, click Continue to proceed with the installation. Alright, we've successfully finished setting up the GLPI server. Make sure to take note of the system's default username and password. You'll need them for the first login. Now, log in to the system using the default account. Alright, we've successfully logged in, and this is the main interface of GLPI. From here, you can start configuring the system, managing assets, users, and much more. Here, you'll see two warnings right after logging in. The first one is a reminder to change the default passwords of the built-in accounts, which is important for system security. The second warning asks you to delete or rename the install.php file in the GLPI installation directory to prevent security risks and avoid reinstallation of the system. Alright, now let's take care of the second warning. First, we'll access the GLPI web container so we can work inside it. You need to delete or rename this file to remove the security warning and prevent the system from being reinstalled. Here, I'm going to rename the install.php file to install.php.back to temporarily disable it. Now go back to the Browser tab where GLPI is open and refresh the page. You'll see that the warning is gone, and that means we're done. Next, if your system uses a firewall, you'll need to open port 8081 so that other devices on the network can access GLPI remotely. If your firewall status is inactive, you can skip this step. But in my case, since the system is using a firewall, I need to open port 8081 to allow remote access. Alright, we've successfully finished setting up the GLPI server with Docker. Now you can start exploring, configuring, and using GLPI for your system. That's it. We finished setting up GLPI server with Docker. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss the next parts.